Hey guys, welcome back to Margot Watches Movies. My name is Jake Margot. Tonight we're talking episode 7, the penultimate episode of Terminal List, Dark Wolf. This was a very interesting episode. I think there was a lot of good here. I do find myself, as someone who has raved about this show and has absolutely loved the journey so far, I am slightly disappointed that we have veered off into what is essentially a pretty standard trope within the espionage genre, the rogue captain who has betrayed his country, played by Haverford. The reveal, which seemed pretty obvious from last week, I was hoping they might use that as a red herring and pivot elsewhere, but no, they played it straight. Haverford has been playing the team all along. And from the grounded approach we've gotten in many episodes leading up to this one, I just found myself a little disappointed there. Now, overall, the episode was still very engaging, very entertaining. I was hooked from start to finish. I just found that plot point to be a bit of a letdown, personally speaking. I don't know how others would feel about that, but that's just how I'm feeling about it in a show that I have really loved. I've really, really adored this season. But with that said, let's get into the show. I think we have a couple, well, one standout action set piece. Again, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward action set piece, but it was a nice moment of catharsis to see our gang kind of realize the situation that they are in and take action like men to defend their country and protect the bond that they've sworn, the oath that they've sworn. I think the standout scene for me personally, removing the action, is the dialogue between Rafe, Hastings, and Ben, played by Taylor Kitsch, obviously the main characters, in case you didn't know. And the buildup of those two characters throughout the last few episodes, Rafe's viewpoint on this mission that they've been in, his ability to look outside the box of the mission and see from the outside looking in, realizing that the numbers and logistics were not adding up to a straight play. And Ben, on the other hand, as Rafe very much points out, has lost himself in the violence, in the mission. He is chasing a war to fight himself, as he so adequately puts it. And we get a lot of long live the brotherhood. You get these two men, you know, kind of throwing shots at each other who have been brothers for so long. And I just thought it was a really effective scene at kind of conveying where these two characters have diverged on their paths, where they've grown, where they've regressed. And by grown, I mean Rafe. And by regressed, I mean Ben. It's easier with this episode to see a little bit of why he did what he did in season 1 of the Terminal List, where his morality has just been completely lost in the gray of agency work, where Rafe still, I think, can operate effectively within the gray, but he does draw a line, and Ben does not seem to draw a line. Overall, I thought that was the standout scene of the episode for me. Now, you also have the other Mossad lady in the background who has been grounded by her Mossad handler, kind of ignoring that and putting together the pieces of Haverford's betrayal. You have the other subplot of the season with the Iranian family trying to achieve nuclear capabilities with the centrifuge. And it all coalesces into this third act where Ben, Mo, and Short Hemsworth deliver these centrifuges to the plane. They are expecting these to be fake. They have this nice little scene where they have tension because you're expecting the centrifuges. If you haven't been paying attention, you're expecting the centrifuges to fail and an action scene to break out. But the show pivots. which was a creative little moment of false tension, I think, but I did see it coming because it seemed very obvious Haverford was betraying them. And it hits this 1500 mark on the centrifuges. They needed to know they were legit. They realized they've been duped. And then you get the action scene. And Rafe, in that conversation with him and Taylor Kitsch, had decided to abandon the mission. He was begging Ben to go with him. We get the reveal that he was actually in the field the whole time with a sniper. What he was willing to do, I'm not quite sure, but he seemed pleased to see them go back and get the case and leave. So the episode ends with them returning to the boat, seeing Haverford's car still there, where he has left a laptop with an email he has sent to the director of the CIA or whomever, burning his team, burning Ben, burning Mo, burning Rafe, which pissed me off because I really like Rafe, and the Hemsworth brother. Now, the other little issue I have that really stems from a few episodes ago is the subplot of the Hemsworth brother trying to essay or, force himself upon the now dead Mossad agent versus the direction of where he is here. I just don't find that plot to be necessary. I think it kind of dug them in a hole where now they needed this character to help carry on the mission based on their writing choices. And they have this little like side remark where Ben is like, well, you risked your neck to save Mo, and he did. And the character has been kind of an asshole, but you could argue he's a likable asshole with the exception of the completely unnecessary assault scene that really served no purpose other than just to kind of generate some type of artificial tension in a episode that was just taking its time to build up to a conclusion. And I think it kind of caught up to him and bit him in the ass in this episode because you're kind of expected to like be sympathizing with him now, and it's just hard when they went out of their way to show like this guy's kind of despicable, and not just in the wet work spec ops murder type of deal, but it's just, even in a show like this, there's just no need for a scene like that where you're then going to try and make the guy one of the boys and forgiven. So is it worth the amount of time I just devoted? I don't know, but I had an issue with that. But overall, again, I still think this was a solid episode. I'm just a little disappointed with how high the season's been operating at, to have the penultimate episode kind of devolve into such cliche tropes of the genre. I'm still very much excited for the finale. I really hope we get a little bit more insight into where Ben goes wrong. Is this a standalone, or are we kind of going to be seeing where and how he drifts into the character that he is and is revealed to be in Chris Pratt's season of The Terminalist? So will Chris Pratt come back for the finale? I don't know, but we got one episode left. I'm looking forward to it next week. I just think from the highs we've gotten that this episode was a tiny bit of a letdown for me. So overall, I'd probably give this a 6.5 or a 7. I haven't settled in yet, but I do think the show has a high bar, so I'm basing it within that category. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Give me a like if you enjoyed the review. What are you guys thinking about this season? What do you think of it compared to season 1 of The Terminalist? I'm curious there. But we got one episode left, so that's all for tonight, guys. Keeping it short. This is Jake Margo with Margo Watches Movies. And as always, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.